Hey guys, welcome to Envision Prototypes. If you watched the last episode, we had a little material shortage. Well, we're going to have a bigger shortage in 2 seconds. We're going to pull the saws out, but before I do, if you look at a stock 74 Charger, you can see that this line came down diagonally, just like this here and indicated by the green line. What I did, not sure why, at the time it seemed to make sense, came straight down. I stood back, looked at it, and it doesn't look right, it looks a bit awkward. So what we're going to do is take this corner off this rocker right out, just delete it. And unfortunately, the amount of material that we rolled over on the fender is not going to be enough to accommodate for this change here. No problem. We'll just unroll it, weld a new piece on, extend it, roll a new flange. It also means we have to take the structure, which is behind here, do the same thing to that. Add some more material down here. I've got a flange that rolls down 90 degrees here. That's just a temporary thing to help me facilitate clamping this to the body. After we have this fender all fitted, that'll be cut off and we'll have the fasteners coming in from the bottom. So you can have the adjustment front to back and as well as inside and out. Right now we're clamped solid and this has to be perfectly dead on, which it is, but later on, after you get paint on it, for whatever reason, things need to be adjusted sometimes. Ask anybody who's assembled a painted car, you'll know. Now, in order for us to do the work around here, this fender's in our way. It normally doesn't seem like a big deal to take a fender off, take the bolts out. Well, in this case, we have 4 tacks, maybe 5, I'm not sure what I did up there, holding this fender to the car. So we're gonna have to take and cut one side of the tacks from the blocks, pop the fender off and get into this. That tack broke. One ahead. No problemo. Now I could. No, I was going to say let's leave this on here, adjust this, but we need to take and redo this back corner. So we'll take this off and do it the right way. Open this up. Now what we have to do is just roll that over, make a little filler piece, get it tacked in, and I'll probably weld it later on. Once we have all the structure and everything all dialed in, I'll go through on the whole car and make sure that stuff like that is finished. In a case like this, I just want to keep moving forward, so a few tacks, holding the piece, perfect. By rolling that in like that, we have a nice radius edge. The flange has to be cleaned up a little bit on the inside, but that's okay. I'll get a piece, fit it in, trim up what I have to up here, tack it, and then we'll move ahead. 481.3 seconds later, we're back on the fender. And as you can see, corrected the gap between the door and the structure, the rocker and the structure. So that's all really good right now. What we have to do is unroll that portion right there. The rest is nice. Take and unroll the material, the flange we rolled over on the back, and given that I had made this adjustment, we're going to be short now on the fender, which is fine because all we do is weld a little piece on and then take that extra material and roll that over onto the structure. special pair of pliers I developed have a bit of a catch here and help unroll material just like that. You don't want to distort this. We're going to be cutting this bottom off, but right now it helps us clamp it to the structure. I'm going to put a little more smoothing on this. Give me a second to weld a piece of 18 gauge onto here, extend this, and then we'll get back into rolling the new flange. I'm going to add one more. That's not good. The roll probably got pinched somewhere. So as I was trying to say, I'm going to add one more just in case the material we added shoots past this tape line here. That. Stick it on, get the fender, throw it on, and mark this side out. Yeah. I was just thinking about the hem, if it's going to be in our way, but we should be all right. Yeah, let's see how it goes. Ooh, almost wants to jump in. That's very cool. See that? Just jumped in. So now, gap isn't too bad. We can pinch this. Hope I don't pull it off onto my head. That's why I left that flange on the bottom. We can help clamp it. As you can see, we've got a bit of material here that's way too far out. So let us cut it off there. Cut it off there. Our feature line lines up with the door, and we've got our thing there. All right, let's lay out. Well, that's gonna be tricky. It's really important that I see the edge of that tape line. So we're gonna unclamp it, take off a bit more, even though I've got that tape there. Take and cut off a bit more of that green just to expose this center tape line. And then we can start adding our tape, moving things over, and getting our line. That's much better. Get our gap, looking good. That front is not going to fall. You gotta have eyes in the back of your head sometimes. Yeah. Why do I do that? We need this. So what we're doing is marking out the new flange they're going to be rolling over. 2. I need some 1/8 tape to shift this line over here. Down below, I want this to come up to the rocker, so we're going to keep a tight gap there. That's good right there. We've got the 1/4 inch tape that corresponds to the gap, which is perfect. We'll scribe a line, jog over, scribe a line, pull this tape off, throw some half-inch on, and that'll be our new flange. Oop. Jog over, down, oop, come on. Yep. Now, this line over here on this side of the tape might be a little bit wobbly, joggle, wobble. Holy tape, no, I haven't been drinking. Take this off. It has been a long day. We've got a lot of other stuff done. And we'll be doing one more thing later on after I get all this kind of roughed in here. But not in this video, it'll be another video. One there, jog over, and that's going to be our flange. And the reason I did that jog is we want this bottom portion to be tied up against the rocker while maintaining a gap around the door. And that's our flange. And we cut that off right there. We'll go to the table, take care of this, and I'm not sure if we're gonna, might as well get it on the structure, fit it up to the front, and then we have to turn our attention to the front and start tying that fender in to the structural boxes we created for the headlight supports. Later on, we'll cut this off at the bottom. Woohoo, yeah, it's looking good. All this tape, this garbage. So a little bit extra work just to extend this flange, but I'm liking it a lot better now that we've moved this whole rocker gap rearward. Very good. Now we can roll this over. See how it's starting to roll back here? That's not good. It's because we've rolled it once already, so it's kind of broken the sheet metal. Not a problem. We'll just get this a little further and just touch that up. See how it's flattened out? It's because we've rolled this flange vertically this way, or 90 degrees. It's kind of opened it. Once you roll it all the way over, that curvature will come back. It will return. Right now what I'm focused on is getting this line perfect to the right side of the grease. Going to fit this, make sure everything works out, take it apart, prime all this because you won't really get it in later, and then we'll assemble it for the final time. But I do want to check it on the car before we go through all that stuff. See, now by opening this up, it's gotten flatter. I think it's at this point that we'll get a small tack on here, just to hold it, because I think maybe I can clamp it. Yeah, let's clamp it. Small vice grip, just pinch it. All right. Oh, look at that. Like a glove. Holy moly. Get it in, it jumps out. Now, I'm going to pinch that. Pinchy, pinchy. Come here, vice grip. Make sure we get it really good. Oh yeah. Flat pad on that one. They have to go together because I know the back edge of the fender matches the back edge of the structure. It's just we have to kind of twist things into position. A little bit of something happening there, I'm not sure. I think if we twist this like that, it'll settle in. Let's go ahead and tighten this hem down just a little bit more. It'll sit more relaxed, and then we'll have to do a few things to the structure before it goes on the car for the final time. Any moisture that gets in from the backside is not able to get out. It'll get trapped in here and it'll take this out or take the fender out at some point years later. We don't want that. So you can see I've drawn out a few things here. We have to create little bosses. Basically raise the center up, the two ends up, and cut the skin away on the outside so that the fender bolts through, or the bolts bolt to the structure, to the car, instead of sandwiching all of that. There'll be a few spot welds across the bottom, plug welds, but for the most part it'll be free for anything to come out, any moisture. Pinching it down a little bit more, but not completely, because if I need to move anything, I still can, and I need to take this apart, I mentioned that, so we can prime all the panels. But I need to get this on the car because the way it is, it's not going to fit. Just temporarily run a couple screws down from the top side so they're not sticking up, and we can actually bolt this back on where it was on the car. Now before we throw the fender on, I just want to show you, we've got a mount up here for the top of the fender. We'll throw some nutserts in the bottom of the rocker for the bottom. The front will be welded to a flange so it returns down, and there's also a flange off the side of the headlight box that needs to pick up the side of the fender. I can't do that because the front fascia bumper grille surround is on, so that'll have to come off, but I want to make sure that everything works out here. We can pull this tape off. That's all done. Got what we wanted, and hopefully our gap is good. We don't have to tweak anything. If we have to, it's not too late, but it should come in pretty darn close, if not right on. I'm aiming for the latter because I don't want to do it again. I would if I had to, but we'll see. Yeah, that's it. Let's bring the fender. Hook the front. It's on. wouldn't you know it, it's just about there. Okay. I'm going to adjust that part there. This gap is really, really close. If anything, it's a little bit wide in the middle. Once I pinch the hem down all the way, it's going to actually move out a little bit and it'll tighten up. And if anything, we got to come back a little bit. How's the gap at the front? That's not bad at all. Now, right now, this fender, we have to come up there. You see that gap is coming in really well. Back here, that needs to come down a little bit. That's running wild up here because we need to figure out where the hood is going to be. So not quite done with that yet. Coming down to here. I need to roll the top of this in just a smidge, and that'll close up this gap, close up this gap. And like I said, once we ham that down tight, that gap will close up and it's going to look primo. Yeah. So let's do that. Adjustment. And then let's pull this fascia off. And that's going to involve cutting these tacks. Everything's all set up, centered to develop the hinges. See, got that side in too. But we need to make an adjustment here at the front. Need to roll this back because it's actually shooting past. That's one of the things I was doing earlier. Try to run both sides in parallel. This one here, it's got to come back and that'll line up. Because I'm not hooking right now. There is adjustment on this to slide in and out, so that's okay. And it'll help us with a gap here. Because of that there, it's pushing it ahead, which is why it's not catching, which is why it's not sitting where it has to. So let's fix that, throw it back on. You can see how many times a panel goes on and off the car. For the people who have never seen panel being fabricated or things being built, it takes multiple attempts to get to the final destination, unless you're lucky. Yeah. I'm just thinking about that wheel opening. I think we'll throw some tape around the perimeter, cut off what we don't need, and roll that. Might as well get that done. Yes. And we will have to increase, see how high that is there? The same amount that this is in at this point. So when this comes out, that'll come down. Doesn't want to come off. Yeah, I can see the line wanders a bit. We got to pick that up, roll it in, roll it down. Careful, don't create a bubble on the outside. Before getting the fender on, we're going to try and make some adjustments. And we'll try and pull this off without removing this front hood section, structural section. We need to shorten that up yet, but I want to get the fenders fitted. It looks so bare. Yeah, so we've started rolling some of the flanges. We'll probably roll the bottom one for a little bit of strength. These are the plates that pick up that hold that grill surround / old bumper. This is the new bumper. We have to take these box corners, take the top there, that little piece, take it off, cut the bottom, and roll both sides outward that amount. So we had to elevate the hood latches. They were down inside about here, and with the new hood structure and everything with the Charger, we had to lift everything up to pick up those new points. So we'll just put these bolts in here, and I think the camera was out of frame, so tighten that up, and then we're going to throw this loop in to the latch, like that, and then we'll have to align those with the structure that used to be up here. We'll reroute that, make it all pretty. Horn, you can stay there. Let's get the fenders back on. Yeah, without the surround, and made up these flanges to the fender. Might need the surround. It's kind of like what comes first, the chicken or the egg. We need the surround to get the width, but we also need to tie the fender into that, and the flange, which is over there, it's gonna be tricky to mark it out. Let's put the fender on. As you can see, things are lining up almost. This corner down here is interfering, so we're gonna just scribe a line, take some material off, not too much. Top should be okay. Do that. Almost there. Wow. I think this is something we can get from the inside, the back side. I need to make sure that all this works out with the grill strong. This is just arbitrary right now. We're just kind of waving around in the wind. Well, this corner is coming in really well. Might not look like it at the moment, but I've had all the pieces, the structure, this fender, this surround, all come together really well. The side, let's roll this arch, make a little adjustment down here, as well as up here. This gap is consistent all the way, and then it opens up. We're going to take and swell this feature outward and pick that up, and then that'll be done. We can tidy this up a little bit here. It's sitting high because it's, you know, now bolted down. So we'll take care of all that little stuff, get this done, and then we can begin tacking the box to the fender, bolt the back of the fender where it needs to be, and tack the side here to the box as well. And do the whole thing on the other side, and then we can go and pull this off, create a web on the inside, and tie the fender into the structure we create so that this is fixed. A special dolly just for situations like this. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that because I need to make sure that that is where it needs to be. I've moved it out about 1/8 of an inch. This structure has to come out. Let's roll this flange while it's kind of this way, and then we'll throw some primer on this structure, get it together, and I think at that point we're going to start assembling this, the fender to the box, all that stuff. I'm going to run a length of 3/4 tape around here, and I'm wondering, I think we'll do that, yeah, that makes sense. It's pretty close. I think we'll be cutting off, yeah, let's do this. Let's cover up the green line and we'll take off that much material. And now the fun begins. Rolling that. That's something I can put through the tipping wheel very easily. Just awkward. Now whenever I start rolling a flange, I'll start out here with the dolly, just right behind this cut edge. And as it starts to roll down, I'll move in to where I'm on that line, and I'll have usually a pretty crisp edge. If I try to put the dolly back there at that line, then it actually rolls back and messes up this area. Let's see how it goes. Can't be too much of a hurry to cut stuff off because it can help you when you're working. Areas like this, you have to stretch them. Otherwise it's going to pull this fender out, which is actually helping us to a degree, but it'll be too much in this case. So as I'm hammering it, I'm actually peening it, stretching it, allowing that to settle back down. If you did this in the tipping wheel, you'd end up with a big banana. Unless, of course, you stretched it after. But me having my arm like this, I'm actually creating little dents in here. So I kind of have to block your line of sight for to be comfortable and get that in the way it has to be. No dents. We put you guys over here. .18 gauge, baby. See how it's all getting wrinkled up right there? Right now, I can either unclamp it, put it on the shrinker and shrink it, or have the weight pulled down here. This being clamped, should be able to stretch or shrink that into itself. If we're careful, we don't want the material to overlap itself. And that's just about there. Told you, we gotta stretch that. Sounding mighty fine. Might look like I'm just bashing this, but I'm actually controlling where I'm hitting it. For the most part, I'm hitting the very edge. I'm staying away from the radius. You start getting too close to that radius, you're going to create a bunch of little ding dents there. The structure is getting in my way to get the dolly in here properly. We may have to touch it up a little bit with the structure out. I might just put this into the shrinker and shrink that because I think we've lost our radius. I want it to be a little more, and because we don't have this clamped, it's actually opened up. So we'll shrink that. Get the structure out, make it lighter, take care of that. There's a little thing here, I gotta fix that. It's a radiused slap. Now, crease is gone, but I need to create a sharp edge here. So we'll just feel where we are and work up against this edge. Your arm starts getting tired, like mine is a little bit, go get a cold one. Come back half an hour later and keep going. Okay, so I'm going to take this apart, prep it for primer, shoot the inside of the surfaces with primer, get the structure back in it, and I'll bring you guys in when we're mounting it on the car, and that way you're not watching paint dry.